Let's call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the first of three pledge of allegiances tonight. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Could I get a motion on the minutes, Ms. Bashaw?
Motion to approve?
Second?
I didn't get a copy of the minutes to put in the,
Oh, I sent them out before the last school board meeting.
oh, you did?
Yeah.
I looked in my email, I didn't see them.
I mean,
Okay,
we
but
pulled
if
that.
she saw it, that's great.
Yeah, you saw it, right? I find it.
Because you send them out, I'm
Pretty
pretty sure
quickly,
you did send that one out
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah, it was,
I looked just before we went into this meeting. That and for manifest questions.
no, I sent it, I didn't see it though. Oh, you know why? You gotta go back further. Because we weren't able to get a quorum on the December meeting, so it's the November minutes. And they were sent out,
Oh, and I put them in the last meeting.
yeah, so they were sent out on November 11th.
Let me stop sharing. I appreciate taking the time to kind of unwind this. November,
I sent them out.
so November 7th, no, I'm sorry.
It's for the November 2nd meeting.
December.
And, I did a massive, delete of all my emails, like.
Meeting house.
Yeah, I had emails from like on days.
I can just send it again right now.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
I should note that Mr. Edelman is not with us today. He is excused from the meeting here, personal issues to attend to.
So you just resent it, Jamie?
Yes. Should be popping in a second. And I read these at the last school board meeting.
Kind of remember the being. How did you say?
What?
Please send, I just can't figure out this email. Resend, I see
I got
resend,
it,
but I don't
I
have
got
an
it.
attachment.
Oh, wait a minute.
You should be able to go back to the original. Well, if I did a reply all, maybe it didn't.
I think-
No,
Oh, wait,
I have
wait.
it though.
Yep,
It's gonna be in the drive and on the agenda in just a second.
yeah,
It might help if I go to the right committee.
Come to now.
now I'm trying to think back.
And that's his
I-
attachment.
No, I'm in it right now. I'm looking because I kind of remember chuckling that I felt like someone's name might have been spelled wrong.
I just checked on him, just felt right.
Was it you? Did you spell your name wrong one time?
That's within the realm of possibility,
Anyway.
sure.
I will still make my motion to
All right, I'll still second it. All in favor?
approve.
Aye. Unanimous. And then Matt could just let us do the comments.
Yeah. Let's get, almost done making it. Here, fine, all right. Business administrator comments. And let me share my screen again. All right, so, the new inflation report is out for the state of New Hampshire at 6.1%.
We're talking about a half, and I think number highs was 6.7, right?
I think it was 7.2 was the high. We can actually open it up and look. And yeah, so 7.4 was the high, 7.6 in June was the highest. And so it's declining. So anyways, I'm starting to see prices flatten, but I'm still having sticker shock when some goods and services come across my desk. Okay, all of our IRS forms have been mailed timely, which means, the W-2s went out to the employees. I'm sorry, not W-4, the W-3. The 1099s went out to all the vendors. And then also the 1095s. The 1095s is the report of health insurance. Went out to all the employees. Okay. So financial condition, I've included a spreadsheet of all encumbrances through February 6, 2023. And I provided a link. It includes all purchase orders from the beginning of the fiscal year through February 6th. Okay. The cash balance of the district as of December 31st is $5,224,965.54. This balance is sufficient to operate the district for 1.68 months. And then also, more importantly, the Fremont School District and the towns of Kingston and Newton are current on all their payments. As of December 31st, 2022, we recorded revenue of $29,700,733, not including the use of fund balance to reduce the tax rate of $1.175 million, and $175,000 we used for capital reserve funds. And I gave you a link to the report. Notable revenues for the month include interest income of $11,578, impact fee revenue from the town of Newton for $12,053, and a return of district contribution to New Hampshire retirement system for $167,905. Put a dollar in there. So $10,057 for the current period is the New Hampshire, it's the state investment pool. It's called New Hampshire PDIP. They returned an interest rate of 4.24%. And I want to kind of point that out so that you can compare it to our trust funds. So PDIP, if you look at the school board's policy, the district's treasurer can invest the funds in bank accounts or in New Hampshire PDIP, okay? And that's just the state investment pool. So non-health insurance expenditures through December 31, 2022 were $14,409,719, and encumbrances were $16,480,614. Remaining appropriation is $918,448, or 2.89%. Oops, I did not put in notable payroll expenditures. I got derailed. I will have to go and provide that.
So my concern on this one is the last number we had reported to us is a 1,802,000.
Yes.
Remaining
and we've gone down.
And unappropriated.
Yes.
And that's been cut in half. And that doesn't include any payroll. It doesn't include any help, which together make up 80% of the budget. So what do we spend $900,000 on the last 3 months?
Yes. And one of the things that I've been struggling with is how best to pull the data out of the system and report it to you. One of my problems on the payroll side is once you make a payroll run, that encumbrance information, the historical encumbrance information disappears. Okay, so really one of the important things would be is like we hired X number of people to fill these positions. Once we make a payroll run, that information is gone. Okay, so it's just how do I best capture that data? And so I've been struggling with it for the last month. But it's important. I need to get it to you. The data is there. It's just payroll's difficult.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's very concerning that we wiped out half of our unused balance in
I don't
3 months.
I don't think it's
And what?
within
Actually,
3
2
months.
What is this? This is effective as of when?
December. Yes.
So 2 months.
Yeah, I'd have to
$1,000.
I'd have to go back. I don't really think it's half of the balance. I think the last one I reported was about 1.2 million.
The last I had was October, first meeting in October.
Yeah.
first meeting in November, and I was looking at 1802.
So that would be September's balance,
Correct.
because we're still making modifications to January, so I haven't authorized to let them, release that information.
So if I could just kind of jumping off,
Mhm.
but for me, and I'm not saying Jason, I'm just throwing this out as an idea for the future. For me, what I'm very much a relative to what type of a person. So we kind of throw these numbers out here. And for me, I like to see, well, should this be concerning or not concerning? Where were we at this time last year? I'm kind of like a trend person, so
Okay.
I'll just kind of throw that, I'm not saying that's something I'm looking for the next meeting, but I just mean like in general, if I'm a member of the public, we throw out these numbers, what do these numbers mean? And I like to know relative to what.
Okay,
That's,
I can actually speak to that, all right?
Okay.
Normally, we're at 8% at the same time. Okay,
what do you mean at 8?
right now, the budget is at 2.89%. That number is usually 8% by the end of December. Okay? The amount of money that is
Okay,
being spent on like heating oil, the prices are that much
Okay.
more.
so this really, so to
This-
me, that's okay,
This year, when I say
Yeah.
this year's tight, this year is tight.
okay,
So what my concern is, so I just looked up the numbers. The data that you provided in October was as of 9/1.
Yep.
And it was 2,194,000. Was the remaining balance. So as of September 1st, 2,194,000.
Sure.
As of October, it dropped 300,000 on October 1st to 1,802,000.
Yes.
Now, December 31st, all of October, all of November, all of December, it dropped 900,000. If you continue on that, you have 918 to 900,000 about left.
Mm-hmm.
If you continue on that pace, you'll have January, February, March, April, May, June. 6 times a burn rate of $300,000 a month is 1.8 million with only 900,000 left.
Okay. Part of the reason why it's going down so quickly is because I've told people I want you to put in a purchase order for everything from now to the end of the year. And in prior years, they kind of struggled with doing that. I have purchase orders for graduation in the system now, okay? The only thing that I know of, that I'm aware of, is possibly placing a certain number of students in out-of-district placements that are not in here. And every month that they're not placed means we're not spending $100,000 a month.
So my concern is, if I get that direction from my business administrator, this is how I interpret it. Well, we have cash to burn. I better go ahead and put in anything I can think of that I want to buy money on, that I want to spend money on. So
Yeah, That's not the direction.
So what I really need to see is where is all this money going? Because at the beginning of the year, we encumbered all of our anticipated payroll costs. We encumbered all of our anticipated healthcare costs. Together, that's 80% of the budget is gone.
Okay,
And as of 9/1, when we're starting the actual year with the kids in school, we've gone September, October, November, December, 4 months. We've taken out an additional $1.3 million.
okay. I want to correct you on one thing there. We didn't encumber all the payroll costs, okay? If there's a vacant position, we did not encumber it. I can flip the switch on that and make it encumber for vacant positions. It just means that it's,
But if that's the case, then that should be one of the reconciles, and you can point out and say, here's a vacant position that we filled.
yeah, and that's what I need to do, okay? And that's the struggle that I'm having, is when you run a payroll, that data, that encumbrance data vanishes out of the system, the historical encumbrance data.
But somehow we have to capture that, we have to understand that, because at this rate, we're gonna have no money left over.
Oh, we're gonna have money left over in the year.
We should,
We should.
considering that this year had about $500,000 to $600,000 of last year's spending already spent to service this year. In addition to the budget.
Okay, so you had asked me to kind of estimate year-end numbers. I haven't had an opportunity to talk to Tom about this, okay? And, I'm gonna do this off the top of my head because I don't wanna run through my spreadsheet because there's too many variables on it and we're in January, all right? So I'm estimating revenues are gonna beat the budget hopefully by $50,000, okay? Because I made the revenue budget as tight as possible to make sure that the tax rate is affected the least, okay? So the more I estimate the revenue budget, okay, it brings the tax rate down.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means that we have hopefully $50,000. Now, the questions that I'm having in there is, Medicaid revenue and making sure that that comes in. And I've spoken with our special education department to go and follow through on that, to make sure the revenue comes in for Medicare. On the spending side, I'm anticipating at this point about $500,000 to $600,000 remaining. Now you have to remember, at the end of last school year, we asked the school board for authority for several teachers for special education, and also I put in a request for drawing down on the utility reserve account. Okay. This means we're not drawing off of those accounts, we're trying to absorb it internally. Okay? So I'm assuming your rent's gonna be about 500 to 600,000. That's not without any summertime programs. So like if we're doing LED lights this summer and we have to upfront cost, it has to come out of that 500 or 600,000.
Yeah, I'll be honest, we're already half of what we had last year and unreserved. The amount that we're unappropriated right now is 2022 money that rolled into 2023.
Mm-hmm.
That means we spent every dime of the 2023 budget that was 4 million higher than 2021 actuals.
Well, we're also.
I need a reconciliation.
Yes, absolutely, sure. And we have more staff than we had in the last couple of years.
So we should be able to show that.
Yes, we should be able to show that. And then also, I'm experiencing, increases in prices between 25 and 75% higher than the prior year. And I can show that as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's what we want to see.
So,
Because then what the question is gonna be, how much staff have we increased when our enrollment's going down? What is that?
no. It's not, we're not increasing the number of staff. It's just that we have vacant positions that we hired people into those positions.
Yeah,
Okay,
so it's one more staff that we had that we didn't have last year.
yes,
But only because we couldn't fill it though.
yes,
Yeah,
So we're not really creating new
no, but
positions.
I can show him.
Right, because like the
over-
intervention program wasn't
Correct.
funded.
so, but we're still net in the end, you've added staff and headcounts. So we just need to know what those numbers are.
Yeah.
Where we added, what positions.
And we've also made the budget tighter too at the same time. So the amount being returned should be less.
Let's see where it comes out. I know that 2021 to 2023 was actual, the budget was a $4 million change. No, we didn't have the
Well,
food service in there, so 3.4 million.
yeah. You're comparing it to the year in which I did a hard stop on everything because I was concerned that we weren't gonna have the cash on hand to make payroll for the year. Okay, you have to understand the talk when COVID first hit in 2020, okay, was that neither of the towns were gonna be able to make their payments for the rest of the year because they were hearing from their taxpayers that there wasn't gonna be any money coming in. So we didn't spend any money for the end of that school year. And we were also extremely tight in the following year, and we couldn't fill positions in the following year. So you'd have to really go back a few years before that, pre-COVID, for like a good comparison.
unfortunately, that can be worse because you're giving, on lower budget, we're giving more money back.
Yeah, right.
So we really need to see this reconciliation.
Sure.
We're talking about it for, I think, the last 4 meetings. So
Yeah.
we need to get that done.
Mhm. Okay, health insurance expenditures through December were $1,892,641. Encumbrances were $2,814,844. The amount remaining was $687,979. Now, revolving and capital reserve funds through November, that's actually December.
And just if I can pause, that's a $60,000 change over the same time.
Yes,
So
now,
3 months change that, we change 60,000.
yes, so some of the changes in that are gonna be, some of the, budget adjustments in the prior meeting. And then also I gave a copy of all the budget adjustments. So if there's any budget adjustment below $10,000, the school board, policy allows me to move it. Okay, and so I gave you a copy of all the budget adjustments and it's in the drive.
Okay.
Okay. So that change, the change in health insurance expenditures, we have that pretty much, I'm hoping, nailed down. If there's anything that I can't account for, it's only going to be for like a month or two. Okay. Not a month or two, but for like a couple $1,000, unlike the old system. So, moving on to the, capital reserve funds and, this is through November. What I've seen for interest rates is 2.72% for, I think it's linked to the wrong report. Let me go into the drive and pull it up. Yes, December. I clear those links and it keeps popping back. So up on the screen is the December report.
Yeah.
Okay. For December, they're returning an annualized interest rate for the trustees of trust funds, 2.84% compared to the pool, which was much higher. Okay. So for the special education expendable trust fund, we got $575 for interest. So the available balance is $242,819. For the capital improvement maintenance capital reserve fund, we got $770, and our available balance is $325,258. The unanticipated educational expenses, interest of $596, and we have a balance of $251,925. The unanticipated utility costs, the interest is $178 and the balance is $75,550. Now the facility use revolving fund, we have revenue, which is building rental for SLC for $11,666, and the available balance in there is $181,383. With the contingency fund, the 2.5% of net assessments, we have a total reserve of $1,614,000.
Just, I was in touch with Mr. Maxwell, Chair Maxwell of trustees. They had a meeting Monday night. They wanted to move more monies into the investment rather than keep them in cash. I spoke to Chair Dutton. In reference back to, we still have an outstanding authorization on those 3 teachers for about $280,000. We told them, under no circumstances can you allow that to drop below $300,000 in cash. So they moved all but $300,000 in cash. They had about $550,000 in cash, so they moved $250,000 into the a longer term investment than just this fiscal year. That leaves us with the $300,000 plus the $180,000 revolving trust fund plus the $537,000 contingency, which is $1 million. And so Don and I were comfortable with that, and we said, okay. Mind you, all we can do is recommend. They have the final decision.
Yeah. All right. So, okay, so again, I gave you a copy of all the budget adjustments, And it's just gonna be a big, PDF file. So, entry number, description of why it was moved with a dollar amount. Okay?
Yep.
This.
So, say it again, please.
The budget adjustments?
Yeah,
Why is that, why would like FICA be a budget adjustment?
Okay,
Curious.
so, let me pull up the first one. It's actually pulling up last month's. All right, so, which number are you looking at?
So I'm on page 48, when I look at 124, there's a FICA budget adjustment for 2684.72.
Page 48.
Yeah. Line entry 148.
All right, so, also, you have to understand that the first two characters of the account number is the fund number. So 22 is the grant fund. We have to, whenever money comes in for a grant, we have to record it as a budget adjustment, increasing the available amount of money to be spent in that particular grant. Okay,
So we hired a teacher with the ESSER money,
yeah,
and so it was in a different FICA bucket, but we had to put
Well,
it in the
that's-
ESSER grant
well, this
bucket.
is, well, that's, I give you one scenario. The second scenario is a lot of the teachers at the beginning of the year go through a generic account because we don't know where the money's gonna land for the state reporting. And then as it goes in the year, then we move things around to match the state reporting. So I'm guessing this is more, because the grant number is the last 8 digits. And so if you look at the last, say, 6 digits, 20884, all of this is within the same grant. It's just they're shifting it between different line items within the grant. So one of them is a behavior, SR3, yeah, they're recording the revenue.
Okay.
yeah, I have a question on this list. So you just mentioned that anything above 10, you can't do on your own, but I see all kinds of big dollar values here. So the very first page, you see $50,000 came out of new equipment and got moved into furniture. That was never brought to this committee.
That was a mistake. It was, remember when we did the budget, we were saying that furniture was for Bakey. When it got loaded into the computer system, it got loaded against the high school and then moved it to Bakey.
It's going from new equipment to new furniture.
Yes, it was loaded into new equipment and it should be, remember we were talking when we were doing the budget, it should go to Bakey for furniture.
I would have never said it should go anywhere for furniture. I don't think we should be spending any money on furniture, not a dime.
If you want, I can bring this to I can bring up a form for this.
Yeah, then I see, 719, we moved 130,000 amongst all kinds of different lines.
Which page is that?
Page 4 is where the total of 130,000 is at the top of the page.
Page 4, that's the grant fund. Okay, basically what it is we're bringing in revenue of $109,000, and all the line items above that is where it went.
Policy wise, isn't all that supposed to be coming before this committee to be reviewed and agreed?
That would be, okay, so we're using the budget module to report the available balance in a particular grant. We're not treating it the same. We're using it the same as the appropriation reporting for the general fund. So if I were to bring in every single grant revenue as a budget adjustment before this committee, you would have a pile of them every single month to approve. I'd be happy to bring them if you want me to.
So, yeah, so basically, if it's a grant, it's not coming through us because it,
We're using the system for the grant fund
that's not part of the,
differently than
yeah.
the general fund.
And I think, because I was gonna say the same thing though, so, one that I had originally asked about was 35,000, but I also know that, yeah, it was a grant, so that one
Right.
probably hadn't come through us.
But then let's go to page 11. It carries on through to page 17. And we're moving $1,011,747.45 in the general.
Yes. So I have to trick this.
That looks like it's a check number, but that looks like it's a payment of something as opposed to a budget adjustment.
So the system can carry forward purchase orders, okay? But it treats the carry forward of purchase orders differently. I can move it to another fund. I can move it to another fund and make it vanish from all of your reports. Okay? But what I've chosen to do is to move in, the purchase orders, and what I have to do is I have to increase the available appropriation in the current fiscal year to match the amount of the purchase orders that was carried over in the prior year. So basically, I'm tricking the system to accept the purchase orders carried over from the prior year. So if you look at the reports that I've given to you about purchase orders in the prior year, you're going to see an amount for $1,011,747.
And that's why these are, a lot of them are July 1st,
Yes,
because that's the start of the new year.
yes. That's the best way that I could bring it forward for this fiscal year. We have been talking about it. There's several ways you can deal with it in the system, okay? Part of the problem is if you roll over some of them, it's a blanket purchase order. Say there's only like, $200 left on the purchase order. It's gonna bring the purchase order in the new fiscal year at the full amount of the purchase order. And it would have totally screwed up all of our accounting. So we did it manually.
Well, we could be doing that again on August 30th, page 20. That'd be other than just the start of the year adjustments 2 months later.
Okay, so this one here, this is because we budget health insurance in the appropriations as without a location code. What I've done is I've moved the health insurance without changing the dollar amount for health insurance. I've moved it to where the system wants to encumber it.
Let me restate what I think I'm hearing. You took it out of an allocation account district-wide and you put it into a school-specific account?
No,
Okay.
no, well, kind of true. So like it would be, remember everything for the budget for health insurance is by function code. So it'd be 1,100. And what I did is I took 1,100 and I allocated it to Akey Memorial, the high school, and the SAU, if there's an 1,100 for the SAU. And then I went to 1,200 and I did the same allocation. So the amount should be, I'm not exceeding the amount of the authority that the district meeting gave the district. I'm just putting it in the correct bucket. So what I can't report to the people is the individual line items because it may give up HIPAA information about the health insurance. But I got to match that up in my system or it's going to give the payroll clerk these over budget errors all the time.
Yeah, I'll have to go back to these. Some of these, I think that might have been also associated with the beginning of the year. We were showing a overspend value in health insurance. I don't know if it's tied into this or not at that point in time. Because that was right at the beginning of the year. This is right at the
Yeah,
beginning of the year.
that overspend value is because someone put in a percent in a dollar field. No, they put a dollar in a percent field in someone's health insurance setup.
Yeah, I'll have to spend some time with this. I haven't had a chance to put it up.
Yeah. Yeah. And please ask questions. I want to make sure that if there's something that you want brought forward to the committee, I want to make sure that you have it.
Do you have this in Excel? And the board had it as PDF.
I gotta think if I can get it out in Excel. Because I had to run it a little differently.
Does somebody have a Adobe Writer where you can dump the PDF into Excel?
I've never been really successful in doing that. But when I do this, I will make an effort to get you the Excel. Do you still have access to the system?
I might have been on in a long time. You direct into the system to be able to click on a thing and see an invoice?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't been on in a long time.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's still valid. It's normally get signed on with X amount of time, it indicates your password.
Okay, we should make sure that you have access to all the budget adjustments. Okay,
Yeah, because I just gotta understand what's on the inside.
Yeah.
Because it's far and above anything that we've seen before in terms of the budget adjustments.
Yes.
For the committee.
because we haven't been bringing the grants to the committee because it's not changing the appropriation.
Yeah, I can get that. There's all kinds of tens in there too, on tens.
Yeah,
Okay, there's one, January 6th, 2023, page 45. $70,000. Again, it looks like you're posting it into revenues from a town of Kingston and town of Newton. It looks like a journal entry as opposed to a budget adjustment.
well, hold on one second.
So I'm not sure what
Page
I'm looking at.
45,
Yeah, middle of the page.
middle of the page. Yes, impact fees. So these are, those are revenue budget adjustments, okay? So do you remember when, before we set the tax rate, I said that the budget adjustment, the budget for the revenue side is going to change. When the tax rate is set, then we know what the official revenues are gonna be, and we're gonna make budget adjustments to match the tax rate setting, okay? So, in the tax rate setting, we're expecting to get $58,000, $229, $58,229 from Kingston and $12,048 to Newton. And what this is it's changing the revenue side of the budget, not the expenditure side. And I think the policy specifically talks about moving appropriation, the expenditure side, okay? But this is directly tied to making sure that the report that I'm presenting to you on the revenue side ties in with the tax rate setting documents. Here.
So presumably then in the revenue statement, I should see an increase in revenues by, if I'm understanding you correctly, by this 58,000 you cited for Kingston, because that wasn't originally planned in the budget, is that correct?
Yes, the columns don't show the change in the budget. It just says what the available budget is. I will go see if I can show something what the original was and what the change was, okay? But, here's the impact fee. You saw the entry for this one?
Yeah.
And that one,
Correct.
okay? And so we got Newton's impact fee. We haven't received yet Kingston's impact fee. But the tax rate was predicated on receiving 58,000 from the town of Kingston.
So some of these don't, in my mind, wouldn't qualify as what I think about in budget adjustments. So I'll just have to go.
No, I see this as this is your first impression of a document. You have to understand, on the old system, you wouldn't know this, Maura. In the old system, I couldn't produce this. I've had past committee members ask me for this particular list. I've only been able to provide it in the last couple of months because the system can produce it, okay? So really, what I'm seeing from Jamie is this is his first impression of understanding it. Now he's got to go through it and understand it, really.
Yeah, cause I've seen most of these transactions.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so the change in the health insurance, you will find in that budget adjustment. Okay, so that on the health insurance side, there's three things that are going to affect it. The first one is if we hire a new employee and they make a selection for health insurance, the system automatically encumbers for that health insurance.
Yeah.
Okay, the one that doesn't encumber for is if we have an early retiree, we have to manually encumber for that dollar amount, and we plan through the whole year what that is. So I don't expect, if you're gonna see something change, it's really gonna be because we hired someone. However, if we make a movement out of health insurance to pay for something, it will also affect that as well, but you'll see it in the budget adjustments. Okay, so like one of the adjustments I have, or that I'm recommending, is gonna be coming from health insurance.
Alright, so let's move on then.
I want to give a status for the custodial, RFP that was presented to the finance committee, facilities committee at the last meeting. They were happy with it. I gotta push it out, and, so we can get you guys, some numbers that you want for, it's gonna probably take a couple of meetings before they actually return results. Okay? The budget adjustments, the first one is, this first one right here is within my authority to move something, okay? But I got two that are very similar together, that if you were to combine them, it's over $10,000. And the logic is pretty much the same between the two. Now, we have a new special education director, Troy, and he is saying, I need money moved out of these accounts into this one account so that I can track my supplies better, okay? And so what he's gonna do is, he's basically consolidating everything so he can see what his budget is better, okay?
What you're saying is I don't want my supplies broken out with that type of, definition. I just want one supply bucket. Can you give me a supply bucket and I'm moving where I need them?
Yes, exactly,
We're just taking them out of all the little line items.
yes,
It says I'm using it for this, this, and this, and he says, that's too much manual effort for me. Give me a supply line item, and I will take care of all my accounts through that line item.
yes, okay? And he's doing the same thing for professional services. I felt that it's the same logic, okay? I felt that the two of them together, it makes it look like he's trying to separate it and make one go underneath my authority and the other one falls underneath this committee's authority. So I'm giving them both to you because they have the same logic. And all we're trying to do is move money from one line to another so that he can track it better for the way he's running his program.
So the question for you, Bob, do you have any particular issue with not seeing it at the detail level and only seeing a single line item of professional services specialist?
I think it's a small enough amount that I can see, I have the same problem in my business of, you got vehicle expenses, truck, van, car, which you spend more time trying to figure out which gas receipt it goes with. I don't think it's a large amount of money that is concerning. I understand that, and then kind of sometimes when you give too much detail, and granted the spreadsheet we were just talking about, I understand it's the first time we're looking at it, so it's kind of overwhelming, but sometimes the more information you give raises more questions. It's not, I don't think there's any ill intention of it, but I feel like sometimes it causes questions that don't really need to be asked, or they're just, I think our time could be spent better doing other things. I think it's a small enough amount of money. I'm fine with it. I appreciate it. It's supplies. Well, the first one was supplies.
Yeah.
Not that one, but the first one, I get it. He's buying pencils and calculators and construction paper, whatever.
So if you're okay with that, can I get a motion to accept, both adjustments, both adjustments?
Yes,
The
Motion
supplies and the, contracted services.
yes.
Motion to accept both.
Second, in favor?
Thank you. Okay, the next one has to do with the van purchase, okay? So,
This is the same van we talked about in the last, meeting.
yes, okay,
Okay, there it's coming up. But,
I'm pulling it from health insurance here. I had a conversation with the athletic director about whether I can pull some money out of the transportation line item. Because I know you would be thinking we'd be saving money this year. What his response was is, I don't have invoices yet from our transportation provider that he feels confident to let go of the money, okay? We won't delay this for a month, okay? When it settles down and we can pull some money from the transportation line, or we can do it from this, knowing that there's gonna be available funds in the transportation line for athletics.
I just want to go back because you said that and it triggered thought, and I made a misstatement previously. When I said we're gonna be half of what we were last year, that's true, but I'm only comparing 50% of the equation. So if I've got 550 to 600,000 in non-healthcare, and I'm sitting presently at about 600,000 in the healthcare, I'm at about 1.2 million, 1.1 million
Yes.
overall.
Yes,
Or were you saying everything all in, I'm expecting to be
No.
550?
no, you have to add the two together,
All right. So
okay?
then when I add the two together, I'm expecting total unexpended monies to be over 1 million when I take non-health and health. Is that a fair statement or not?
Yeah, and actually, I've run the numbers through January, and I think the number is about, the combined number is about 1.4 million.
Okay. I just wanted to clear that because as I'm thinking about it, I saw the health pop up when I didn't add those numbers previously.
Yeah, I don't like the way we're reporting health insurance. It bothers me because we have to add the two numbers together, and he understands that.
If it's not affecting the purchase of the vehicle, we did go ahead and buy it,
Yeah, we went
right?
ahead and bought it. I just,
My opinion would be, why not wait and put it in a better bucket?
I mean, I'm basically, I'm looking for, do you want to wait and pull money from the transportation line item as opposed to not pulling it all from health insurance?
Yeah, I would, because we're thinking that over a course of a year, it's gonna save us 20 grand. Now, part of the year's already gone, so it's probably not gonna be that, but there should be something for the backside in the spring and the summer things, and we should take that piece out of transportation, and then the balance we can take out of this.
Well, I did hear him say at the end of last week that he saved $400 just for one trip by using the van. And they're using it often. So,
You and I and Rick had talked. I don't know if you were privy to it, on the information on the van. So my understanding from the van is, it looks brand new, it's completely well kept, looks brand new. What was the mileage again?
16, almost 17,000.
Yeah, so that's the exact van we're talking about, and they're able to pull it down, and Matt said, when he first opens up and looked at it, it looked brand new. I mean, it was still in perfect condition.
It was used by an energy company. You know, maybe to move workers between one location to another.
But I would agree with Maura, why don't we wait
Sure.
and put this on hold and take a look at it next time?
Sure. Okay.
So we are gonna bring the first one to the meeting, the special education adjustment we're bringing to the board tonight.
No.
We won't have time tonight.
No.
Okay,
No,
The next,
at the
No,
next meeting, we're,
the special education adjustment, you guys have the authority to move it.
yeah, but we are required to tell the board of what we have done. So
Yes, you're required to tell the board, okay?
So I was planning on doing that at the meeting.
at the next
15th.
meeting, because we have to go over,
Okay.
yeah, okay.
But if we move money in and out of special education from another, say, place, or move money out of special education to another place, it's a full school board vote.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
All
Well,
right,
that one would be.
that
Second
one?
The
No,
second
no,
one we're postponing, because it's coming out of special education. No, yeah, it's coming out of special.
no, it's
education.
coming out of health insurance.
Okay,
Both of those are within your power,
yeah, all right.
okay? So LED lights. The facilities chair wants to bring in a person to talk to the group about, LED lights. Someone that you're bringing in, from Sylvania,
Jody Valente, yeah. I just
Yes.
need time.
okay? I'm halfway done in pulling together the RFP. I wanna make sure it's complete. I wanna make sure all the components that relate to federal grants is included in it. Because I suspect that it may be partially federally funded. Okay? I gave you the estimated year-end number.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, chart of account proposals. I have not pulled something together yet on that. That is actually, for me, is simple to do. It's just that finding the time to get it done.
We did have manifest questions, if you go back, you'll find them on the
Oh, it's on a prior meeting?
11:30. Yeah, you probably looked back through December, didn't find them, and said, okay, there's nothing come in. They're on the 11:30 one.
Okay, let me go.
There's only a couple of them. I think I looked at 5 different manifests, and I think I had 2 manifests with questions and only a total of 3 questions.
December?
11:30 is when I sent it to you.
I have 4 manifest questions in, December. That was, the end of November.
Yeah, I got 1068 to 1070 questions. And 1074, 1075. As I said, there's only, I think,
All right, let
3
me
questions.
share my screen. So you can see it.
But I don't know if you had a chance to answer those. I haven't seen them. Answer that.
No, you can try to go through it.
Pass those. Those will be reviewed.
Here. These are the ones that are from the December meeting.
Yeah, so I'm showing 1074 and 1075. Those are the 47. What's the second one? Open up that one with the money numbers now. 1074 and 1075. So that one's still open.
Okay, so the first one here is putting dollar amounts in the quantity field.
Oh, we did talk about that
Yeah,
at the last meeting.
we talked about this a while
We
ago.
did. So those we did cover. So we must have covered that at the December 1st meeting.
Yes. Yeah, this one here.
And the old sale too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're covered.
So, I will have something for you. I will figure out something for you that, try to figure out how to best explain the change in the numbers.
Yeah, what's driving those numbers?
It's gotta exist, okay? I'm just unhappy with how the payroll's falling. Everything else is a piece of cake. Cause it's all in the PO numbers.
So now let's at least isolate it. If 90% of it's in the other numbers, then we know the payroll numbers are relevant. If the other numbers only come up with 10%, we know it's all in payroll.
Yeah, so
Then we can
what,
figure out how to get the
yeah,
break out of payroll.
so payroll, I think it's gonna end up being, we hired X number of people for for that particular month and, and this is what their rate is and this is what they're doing, okay? So it's gonna be more generic on that. It's not gonna be, I don't think I'm gonna be able to nail it down to the penny.
Yeah.
Okay? On the purchasing side, I should be able to nail that down to the penny.
Now, let's try to get what we can get and then
Mhm.
figure out how to back into the balance.
Sure.
All right. Anything more from your end? No?
No.
All right, so join the meeting.